Hello everyone and welcome to another video of Strong Hands. In this video I would like to take a look at iExec version 4. What can we expect from this version, how's the company doing, and how did the market respond since version 3. All these things I would like to take a look at in this video, so without further ado, let's take a look at iExec version 4. Alright, first let's talk about what happened since iExec version 3. And those are not really so good things, to be honest. iExec themselves promised to have a lot of news and stuff coming after the release of version 3, and everyone was excited for that. But it didn't really came. We waited and we waited, but we only got stuff a longer time after version 3 and not really after the release itself. So people were excited for that to come, but it didn't really come. And together with that, but also because news in crypto space usually gets sold, we had the unfortunate event that iExec really started dumping on the charts. So I can show you that quite well on the charts right here. So if we take a look, here it's May, and after that it got sold and went down, 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 down. Here you can see the volume is also dropping. That means interest in iExec really dropped, trust was decreased, and it started to dump all the way until almost 16 cents, dollar cents. And at that point it was really capitulation phase and people started buying again. We got another dip right there at about end of September, and then it started to climb again, luckily, because there were some good things about iExec. We got on Chinese television, and not a lot of crypto projects can say that about themselves. But iExec was also a key contributor to a new specification of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. So yeah, we got some good things again, and of course iExec version 4 is coming soon. It's about to be released in somewhere December. So there's lots actually to be excited about. Even though it was weird that the token started pumping as a trend reversal, while there was a lot of drama in the community chat of iExec. But yeah, before I'll get into the negatives about iExec as a state and as a company, I would like to talk about why I'm excited about iExec version 4, and I want to talk about why iExec is still my least dangerous investment in crypto space. So let's talk about why also you should be excited about iExec version 4. Let's go. Alright, so I just told you why you should be excited about iExec version 4. The truth is, why should you not be excited about iExec version 4? I mean, it's the most important and biggest upgrade that will ever be released to the iExec network, and is really the thing that needs to grab all the people, all the developers, and grab their attention and be like, oh shit, it's so cheap to use it, and oh, it's so secure, and this is the time where it finally needs to grow. Of course, I do think it needs some time after it's released for people to test, experiment, and then finally to deploy in the network. But it is really the version that needs to get adoption for it. I would even dare to say that in the whole world of crypto space, iExec version 4 might, in terms of technological advancement, be the most important, the biggest thing ever in crypto space since Bitcoin and Ethereum, probably. And yeah, this will make iExec version 4 the first complete distributed and decentralized cloud computing platform on Earth. And with iExec version 4 it will bring 4 things that will basically make it a finished product. So let's talk about number 1. That's back of tasks. And okay, I know the critical people, they will say, oh, but this feature was already included in iExec version 3.1 of not so long ago. But I still need to mention how big of a feature this is. Because back of tasks allows people to execute multiple tasks using this a single transaction. That sounds complicated, so let me explain.
Before this feature, a transaction of the iExec looked like this. Credit to my older video of how iExec works. You had a task you wanted to perform, you send it to the worker pool, and workers start working on it, depending on their reputation, etc. And then your next task goes through the same system, the same circle again, and again, and again. But now, with backup tasks, you can basically have multiple tasks, send them in a single transaction to be processed by the entirety of the worker pool. So imagine if a worker pool is not so busy on doing other things, and all the hundreds of computers connected to that worker pool are waiting for tasks. So then you send it a huge task package that would otherwise cost a lot of time and money to do, and now they will all be executed by every single computer, by every worker in the worker pool. So you can maybe get an idea now of what I mean with that it is a really big feature, because backup tasks basically makes iExec become a supercomputer of gigantic scales. Number 2. GPU support. GPU support is finally coming to the network. For a long time people could run tasks on iExec using the CPU only, and this is sufficient for a lot of tasks, for most things. But for example, mining digital currencies, rendering, and a lot of more things, it is currently mostly being done on GPUs in the centralized world, because it's simply many more times efficient to do so. And with iExec version 4, developers of the apps can tap into the GPU potential and make a cryptocurrency mining app, for example, or a rendering app. And those will be many times more efficient than before was possible on the network, because it was only limited to CPUs. Do note, by the way, that only NVIDIA GPU cards will be supported at the start with version 4, but we expect AMD cards to also be supported later. Number 3. The sidechain. The sidechain is the most important feature since the start of iExec. If you have a backup tasks and GPU support and everything else that makes iExec great, you're still limited to Ethereum limitations. It is believed by most people that the iExec network remains unused because you had to wait for the slow transaction of Ethereum to start the tasks, and you also had to pay the gas cost every time again. The sidechain will eliminate both the transaction cost and get rid of the time consuming part of the transactions. Basically, free transactions and them being really fast are realized in the sidechain. So no one has to worry about cost or speed again, but instead focus on the greatness of the iExec network with all its advantages. 4. User experience improvements. It wasn't so difficult to set up an iExec worker after version 3 dropped. Everyone could do it and still can. You can see your completed task, get some graphs about it, some information, what was happening with your task, etc. But it was still quite advanced and technical to see everything, and iExec realizes this. So in iExec version 4, and later versions to come, the team promised to deal with the technical burdens and make the whole experience easier and better for both workers and developers. I find this a really good thing to mention as well, because an easy and clean user interface is attractive to use and will get more people to get interested and start using the iExec platform. So all in all, iExec version 4 will bring key elements to make the network a success, and demand has to slowly form after it has been released. After this version, iExec will focus on sidechain governance to slowly be decentralized, so there will probably be some interesting tokenomics for this as well, further driving the demand for the RLC token in the future. And iExec will also focus on smart city developments for iExec version 5. So, all in all, if you trust decentralized computing to be a success, iExec is about to be the first to complete it, and RLC is the token required to use it. I know some also said they completed their platform, but make no mistake, SOM is not a decentralized platform. Only the marketplace of SOM is decentralized, the workers and the network itself are not. Alright, so now I need to talk about some not so nice things about iExec, since I always remain honest in my videos. The drama I mentioned earlier in the video is a negative that has been always around iExec, even since the start. and it's their bad communication. Every time again, iExec makes mistakes on this front. It could be the promise of more news to come after version 3 that did not arrive, or the miscommunication of the sidechain coming to version 3. Well, we had to find out at release it was delayed for version 4. Or fake answers and no answer regarding how the RLC token final tokenomics would work into the whole system, also with the EEA standard. Or the promise of Alibaba showing how they would use iExec's network that was never shown. Or the hype that there were talks with AMD, and later we found out that there was nothing following up about it either. Or sometimes developers ask stuff and they don't get answers. But I can keep going. The thing is that iExec seems completely focused on the big companies and participates at events on a regular basis to get attention from these bigger companies. But with the lack of online communication and it's not being the best, iExec's community remains small for now, and it also means most developers will not really notice the capabilities that iExec offers. What I do have to say though, is that iExec acknowledged the bad communication in the recent days and promised an AMA, an Ask Me Anything session. We can hope they change the company for the better. A product like iExec can be as great as you want, but without good communication and marketing it could remain unknown and unused for a long time. Although in the defense of iExec, and in my investments defense I suppose, if the tech is really good and money saving, it could be that some companies start to use the network and talk about how they use it, or iExec tells, hey, this company started using us. And this would create interest from other companies and developers, and before you know it, iExec's demand could run wild and increase gigantically in days. You can imagine what this would do with the token price as well, since the token is not only used to transact in the network for computations, but is also required by every worker to stake. Not even mentioning the possible sidechain staking possibilities. So it is my personal non-financial advice that the token will probably grow in value, but slow, and starting probably after some weeks or months after version 4 drops, and then could go fast all of a sudden depending on partners announced and the demand that the network will get. So the conclusion. Altogether, I still have to say that iExec is still my least risky token in my portfolio. I think that iExec's token will still go down in price after the version 4 release, unless a major partnership or demand is announced, but after that we should see demand for the token and see the price slowly take off into the green, followed by perhaps the snowball effect in somewhere late 2020, where the token might bombard into the top 20 of coins. Of course, getting in the top 20 or 50 or so of coins could happen before, but the token does not seem to gather that much interest and speculator interest from crypto space. And realize that adoption, and with that token price increases, will only happen if the network is attractive and chips use. But it is good to see that interest is slowly gaining again in iExec, and it can be seen from nice new Twitter accounts, seeing new faces in the community chat. And remember that even if centralized computing systems remain cheaper for a while, that iExec's trustless network is also a huge positive for the network. There is no task executing platform on Earth that can offer as much security and privacy than iExec can. So if you trust decentralized computing to be a success, I really recommend you to get some RLC tokens now. So yeah, thanks for watching this video, and if you made a yacht or if you made a Lamborghini toy car, then I would appreciate a donation, so you can see the addresses in the description below. So thanks for watching this video, and see you next time. Howdy!